So to the very big question of the confluence of cultures between or from east to west, I titled my presentation The Jam Jar and the Hamburger. And you see during the course of it why I use this metaphor. In truth, East and West have been exchanging cultures and ideas for over 20,000 years, which is the moment when human beings crossed the Strait of Bering, extending, spreading our species to every corner of the planet. At that time, East was West and West was East. And there were no nations, no institutions, no borders, and God forbid, no brands. But there was society. There was culture. There was the collective consciousness that helped us and allowed us as humankind to really tell tales built on creativity, to build on myths and gods and traditions that went on from generation to generation, that flowed from tribe to tribe, that really created an exchange of knowledge and consciousness the planet over. But you'd ask, what does this have to do with design and brands? Well, from an anthropological standpoint, we know that we have a unique capacity to learn from each other. And we take an idea from one place and time, and we're able to bring it here and make it ours and improve it according to us. Well, that's ingrained in our universal human psychology, isn't it? Because we are designed to craft realities on our imaginations. What are brands? If not vessels of shared meaning that are legitimized by our collective consciousness. And when you look at our collective consciousness, there's nothing more intertwined than it is than that today. And that's quite fascinating, isn't it? That red is red whether you're in Tokyo or in Toronto. That a green mermaid happens to be the same symbol whether you're in Shanghai or Seattle, or that we go giddy for cocktails on a jam jar in Manchester or Manila, or that the three-line hamburger, and whether you're based in China or in the EU in Seattle, these hamburgers stand for the same thing. This has all obviously been fast-forwarded thanks to the internet. Has been boosted by the internet. That is not only a network that allows us to buy and entertain and search for information. That is, if nothing more important, and we've seen this over the last 3 months, a place where we can celebrate that we are social animals, a place where shared cultures meet. What is YouTube if not that? What is Facebook if not the platform where people are given a voice no matter where they are on the planet? So in a sense, this idea of the jam jar and the hamburger is a metaphor for borderless, for what we've achieved over these last many, many years. And is this good or bad? Well, on the one hand, we see with horror the idea of homogeneity. And we hate it, but we hate it to the point of when we see the expression of visual logotypes. That they've all succumbed to the idea of flatness. To the service of digital, we see a world of sameness. And that applies also when we get to experience design. That seems to be a template that we blindly follow. And the cookie cutter effect ramps galore everywhere. So that we know we can take the customer to click on the purchase button as soon as possible. And that's it. The danger of this all is that we lack authenticity, that we lack richness, that your experience in X and your experience in Y is exactly the same. The good thing about all this has to do with purpose. And we see that brands have embraced in a very big way the fact that it is a must-have, that we have to have a purpose. We have to tell this to our employees, to our suppliers, to our partners, to society at large, that we exist for a reason. So something that started incredibly well, again, is under the danger of ending in another sea of sameness. And we see, take Barclays or take Pepsi, trying to own territories that make you think like, fighting social injustice. What does Pepsi have to do with things that you don't expect it to be? Companies, brands are trying to jump on the bandwagon of purpose in a way that is actually incredibly dangerous, because this sameness is going to take them inevitably to this field of irrelevancy. They will be ignored by the cynics and maybe accepted by those that don't really think of the profound importance of what I stand for. I'd love to say that the jam jar and the hamburger is a celebration to the received wisdom from previous generations, that we can collaborate, and when we collaborate, East and West can be much better. We've seen this, and this confluence of ideas and of cultures can only make us a better world, a better place to be. It happens in economics. It can happen in the way we exchange language being nothing but the best window to enter a different culture. And it so does through the power of technology and the fact that through it we are globally interdependent, not only in trade, not only in movement of products, but also obviously in movement of ideas. Trump's zero-sum inspired war is totally delusionary. It won't make America great at the expense of China. It will harm both. Mr. Xi's shift to authoritarian approach and the way he treated the release of information during the coronavirus spread was wrong, was created a tragedy and a drama. The weeks that the world lost, humanity lost because of this lack of information were totally devastating at the cost of many, many, many lives. Will the nation state still be relevant? Well, on the one hand, yes, very much, and we've seen it. We've seen countries closing among themselves and really thinking that actually the smaller the country has been, the better they've dealt with the coronavirus crisis. The reality is that we have to find a balance, because these nationalisms that we see today are nationalisms that are not aggressive, that are defensive. And authenticity is fundamental, paramount to the success of cultures and brands and identity. And this will need to continue without ignoring the fact that we have to continue collaborating. The idea of the borderless financial systems, the idea of the borderless global warming, or a borderless virus is a fact. They don't affect nations itself. Nations can have different approaches, but unless we collaborate on a global basis, we will never achieve what we've achieved with the LGTB, Me Too, etc. Movements that the world has embraced in a very successful way and for the good of the last few years. So this all movement that really celebrate empathy and understanding of the other, and the collaboration and the success that collaboration can bring, is a fantastic thing that we have and must continue. And the jam jar and the hamburger are, if not the best metaphor of the shared values that we should, as human beings, celebrate. We've inherited it from our fathers and our fathers' fathers, and we will have to take it from generation to generation, because the only thing that we can succeed is by sharing all between the different cultures. So a celebration of East and West and West and East through a single metaphor. Thank you very much.